Hello, good morning, and welcome to the Southeast Media Conclave. Of course, it's reaching you from our studios in Enugu, the Freedom Square TV. In this segment, we're going to talk about the Enugu Air. Exactly 1 week ago, the government and people of Enugu State, led by Petamba, launched the Enugu Air. This is Kayamo, Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, was here. According to him, it was an audacious and courageous investment. Courage, audacious, may not be enough. What do you think are the high points and low points of this Enugu Air?
I like your intro statement. Courage, audacious, may not be the day. But I don't want to use the word may not. I'll use the word is not. Because we can't wish away the audaciousness and the big ambition of the governor of Enugu State in the things he has done so far, including the Enugu Air. But if you look at it from the socio-economic point of view, I don't have any issues with people doing multiple things at the same time. But first thing first, the money that has been invested, we don't know the exact amount now because that information is not publicly available. That is also a very weak link in governance, because for a government that is making such huge expenditure, the people are not aware. It shows that there's a minus, and I think the government needs to correct it. Enugu is not a personal conclave. It's not a personal property. It's a collective property, and where people's future breakthroughs and others are tied to. Enugu has a lot of school droppers. Yes, I commend the governor also for building the smart schools. And as I did, I don't know if we have 3 of them that are functioning. Others are still coming up.
They'll be functional by September.
Until we see.
Okay.
So there are a lot of other schools in Enugu State prior to his assumption of office as the governor that are there without roofs, are there without chairs, are there without libraries, are there without wash facilities. And if you check the teacher-student population ratio for the schools in Enugu State, you find out also there's a need to get more teachers in most of the schools. And those things have not been done yet. And we are deploying that huge sum of money to those things. What I'm talking about is in terms of the opportunity cost of the investment, and also the sequencing of the investment, and also the sustainability of the investment and governance component of it. What if we invest 30 billion or 20 billion naira in health sector, wash sector? We've started the water reticulation project, which should have been up in the last 180 days. We are still waiting for that to crystallize. Governance, yes, you can do everything at once, but you can't do everything at once. Cool. So it's not a function of.
You've not done
so it's not what they went through. It doesn't really matter. The issues that all of them arrived there, and all of them went through. And for every other person who has also visited Enugu, those people that are in the life of Ambrose that are afraid to fly the routes, that are using airlines, they've always found airlines that come here. But the people son I asked, and I raised that issue last weekend also, is that if you look at the traffic in Enugu, is about 518 passengers, both going and coming, average per annum. 518,000. Owerri has, yes, traffic. Yes, air traffic. Owerri has more. Owerri has about 700 and something. Lagos has about 6.5 million. Abuja has about 6 million. Now, if you look at the flight frequencies in Owerri, Owerri has over 7 airlines that comes to Owerri. And some of the things that are in Owerri are private sector led. So what we think we need to do is that government can also make the business environment better. And I'm sure you know, at the last PEBEC report, PEBEC is Presidential Economic Business Environment, Enugu ranked the last among the 36 states and FCT.
I'm not aware of
in
that.
Business environment. Yes, I will share the report with you. And the governor is doing a lot to make that better. But people are still complaining. So I think what we might need to do is to deploy funds. And I've said, if we wanted more airlines to fly in, we can have a discussion with more airlines, incentivize some of them. What some of the northern states are doing, where I do a lot of work also, is that they may not have the traffic as well, but to make sure that people have access, air transport access. Some of them subsidize and get these airlines to come. So you don't get to incur higher risk and loss, because the issue is that even after 4 years, what we're talking about is breaking even. Even after 4 years, that the airline begins to break even. I agree that may happen. But by the time you begin to net off the losses that may have been accrued or accounted for the previous years, you find out that you need the additional 9 years because before a profit would have started emerging. And while these things are going on also, the government will be making more investments into the airline. Do not forget that also airline business is forex denominated. Everything is about dollars. And currently also, the state is already in a huge debt. I want to also commend the governor because he's one of the states that have reduced their external debts. But the irony of it all is that whereas the government has reduced the external debt from when he came into power, which was about $126 million to about $86 million this day, the naira equivalent of that money, of that debt, is higher than what it was in 2023 when he came in, just because of the exchange rate volatility issues and all the stuff it all. So we are getting more. We are not earning in USD. We are earning in naira. And we are spending in dollars. That means we are, even to repay those loans, and also to those, you are spending more money to do all this. Money that would have been deployed into more productive venture. I don't have issues that NWO bought an aircraft and they are sorry, but this year is that the timing, number one, the sequencing, number two, the public disclosure of information, even the current relationship with SJET. There's a public procurement law which every government needs to adhere to. What are the processes that were put in place or that we adhere to that gave rise to such partnership? The people need to know what is the cost, what is the profit projections for these airlines. It's not even enough to tell us that in 4 years they won't break even. What are the cash flow analysis? These are the things that we need. What we are saying is that there needs to be an inclusive governance system that takes into consideration everyone at the same time. Fiscal Responsibility Law Act of the federal government and laws of the state government also make prescriptions that for every capital expenditure, you must do what is called cost-benefit analysis. And in doing cost-benefit analysis, there are three components that must be put into consideration. You look at the social cost, you look at the economic cost, and you look at the financial cost. And the other left hand of it is also you look at the social benefits, you look at the economic benefits, and you look at the financial benefits. And when you do that, and that's the law also prescribes that for that to happen, and this is why we have the MTEF, medium-term expenditure framework, that allows you time to be able to take into consideration all these kinds of things and check them. And do your alternatives, rank them. If you rank these things, you may discover that, yes, on the face value, that this particular investment may look good. But by the time you do it based on the other alternatives and rank them, you might see, and which was why when I wrote an article, I said prioritization is not a priority. I didn't say it wasn't a good investment. I said it wasn't a priority at this time because there are foundational things that will drive this thing that have not been completely taken care of. Government needs to move away from the dead, the dad, and the dada approach.
Well, that.
The dead, the dead is where the government decide. The dad, they decide, they announce, and they begin to defend. Then the dead is where the government decide, they enforce, then they announce, and they begin to decide. Then the last one is dada, which is the approach of it. Quick, when you do those things, then you will abandon in the end because you do what. You defend, you announce, and you defend and you abandon. Because by the time you find out, because those things were done out of emotions, impulse, for optics, you will discover in the end that you may have taken, and that is what we have seen at the federal and subnational level over time, where you see a lot of abandoned projects. And there is a function of lack of public consultation. Most states, when they produce their state development plan, it becomes an administration plan where you get, if it's a PDP government, they get all PD people to do a document. I say it's a state development plan. What happens by the time you leave, because it's not a state plan as it were, the next administration, even the PDP or AP's government will dump it. But it is a plan that you developed, incorporating everybody in the system, both the professionals, the academia, and every other person, their input in there. They will be the people that will be demanding for the implementation of those things that are in that plan. And that is the kind of things I want Enugu State to do.